What I've seen in clinic a lot, what we see in the shop a lot, is people come to us when they've exhausted the regular medical system. You know, they've been through the channels, they've been to the GP, they've been to the referrals, they had all the, ultrasounds and gastroscopies and MRI scans, all
Right.
these amazing things you can have. And they ended up with
A dead end.
with the dead end,
Right.
with whether a diagnosis of something, very vague like IBS or chronic fatigue, or which usually gets thrown out a lot when people actually don't really know
what's wrong. Yeah.
But being in the medical system, you have to put a diagnosis on it, because if you don't, there is no medication to prescribe, and that's kind of the end goal of the whole process.
Okay, right.
Is prescribe medication. If there is no medication to prescribe, it's the end of the road. There's nothing they can do, and that is not the fault of that individual doctor or person or specialist. It's the fault of the system.
It's the parameters they have to work in.
And it is
Yeah.
the end of their education.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's the end of the path for that person just because the knowledge of one specialist has ended.
Well, that's
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's also very hopeful to hear, right?
Very. And it is very rewarding then speaking to people in the shop who really come with, right, I've been told I'm going to feel like this for the rest of my life because there's nothing I can do about it.
Feel like this
And
in
then-
what sense?
and
Like
then,
pain or...
Yes, chronic pain syndromes or chronic digestive issues or
Right.
chronic energy problems.
Yeah.
And then they come into the shop and there is me, in a health shop telling someone, well, I'm sorry, but you've not been given the right information. There is a lot you can do about this. This is not the end of the road. There are, so many other things that you can do. But the difference is we kind of have to start at the beginning again and
Right.
see where all of your problems came from in the first place. I'm not interested about necessarily all the different symptoms you have now and what kind of supplement I'm going to suggest, for them. This is not how it works. I'm interested in when did this all start?
Right.
5 years ago, 10 years ago. When did all of this start? What is sort of the driving factor that
Right.
kind of brought on symptoms in the first place? And
What
you
was
kind
your
of-
environment?
Exactly,
lifestyle you said earlier?
Was that, trauma is a very, very real thing that has a very severe physiological impact.
Right.
On your health. So you see what happened at that time around when issues started, and kind of you sort of work backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the goal is ultimately, we know your body is amazing, right? And
Right.
your body can function incredibly well if you give it the right tools to do it with. So all we're really working towards is supporting bodily systems so they can perform to the best of their capacity.
Yeah.
And when you do that, a lot of symptoms that you would think cannot possibly
You have to
related,
deal with forever.
Yeah. Or you think, oh my God, how can my headache be related to my digestion? It's a different part of my body.
Right.
There is no way. But it is, because everything in your body is connected.
Everything has like a chain reation and you don't know what's...
Totally. And just because it hurts in your head doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your head.
Of course.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is sort of another really new approach for people, because in just Western medicine, everything is separate. You have a specialist for everything. You have your heart specialist,
Yeah,
and you
that's
have
true.
your lung
Yeah.
specialist, and you have your kidney specialist.
Sometimes
And you
with,
have
for a reason. But,
totally. Then again, if I have a ruptured spleen, I'd like to
See a
have
spleen
see a spleen specialist. Totally, because that's the person who's going to know best about how
Yeah.
to fix my spleen. Totally. But then again, coming back to chronic disease.
And chronic disease, just to really make sure we understand what that means.
So chronic disease, we're talking about a disease process that goes on over years.
Right.
That took years to develop, like diabetes, for example. So it's a disease that is not, being able to be fixed by medication or other
Right.
within a week or two.
It's just kind of
Not
like ongoing
it's an
thing that you'll
ongoing
have to
health
manage and
concern
suffer.
that you have to
Yeah.
manage, that you need, long-term care for, that is not life-threatening.
Okay.
But that is, obviously impacts your life and needs treatment.
Okay.
So that's really what we're talking about with chronic disease.